Oops. All right, so we are live. Can you hear me?
And good night, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to Peaches and Dream Podcast. How are you guys doing tonight? Leave a comment below and let us know. Ooh, that rhymed.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You can't hear me?
Oh, okay. My little sound thing, you know how it moves behind my head? Oh, there it
Yes,
is. Okay, I guess
it
it's on a
is.
delay.
Yes, it's moving. It's moving.
All righty.
All right, all right, all right. So, hope everyone is having a so far. Happy Tuesday. Really quickly, just give y'all a quick rundown of the topics. Tonight, we're going to be covering Angela Stanton and her son, Jayvien, who now identifies as Jaybiez, if I'm saying that properly. But they basically had this interview on Dr.Phil. So if you saw that interview, comment below. If not, go look for it. We're also going to talk about Joe Budden firing two of his co-hosts, right, from his podcast.
Both of his co-hosts.
Also, Joe, you said what?
Both of his co-hosts. He on that bitch by himself now.
Both. He fired both his co-hosts. And then the last thing is, it's going to be another Joe Biden situation where Olivia Dope has some crazy accusations against him. And then also we're going to talk about this gas shortage.
Girl, yes.
Topics. Yo, we're going to get to that. But that gas situation is ridiculous. Okay. All right, so let's get our receipts together. I'm laughing because like everybody got receipts nowadays. Without receipts, you ain't shit. No, but I want to be able to show you guys the video. So the first thing we're gonna kick off, as far as the topics, we're gonna kick it off with the Angela Stanton and Jayvien, which is her natural born son, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of controversy again around this, because what happens is Angela Stanton, is it Stanton or Staten?
Stanton.
I wrote Stanton. Okay. Angela Stanton has a child that she gave birth to. At birth, this child was a male,
Male.
a baby boy. She named him Jayvien. So Jaybiez now, at this point in his life, I think he's 19. I mean, she's 19. You know,
20.
the other crazy part is that they say Jaybiez. Jaybiez now goes by Jaybiez. They say
Yes.
Jaybiez doesn't identify as either. Well, I think she said that he identifies as a boy, but he likes to cross dress. She never said, well, from what I'm understanding, he doesn't ever say he's a she. But
Well,
the
here,
transgender and the LGBTQ society wants to put that label, right? That's what I think.
yeah. Here's the thing. He is not transgender, but he does have feminine features because of the hormones that he has taken.
Okay.
So he isn't fully transitioned into a woman. So, um, because I'm confused about the whole transgender thing because T.S. Madison is a transgender, but T.S. Madison has, the boobs and the butt and, the silicone and everything, but she still has that part down there. But she identifies as a woman, so she would like to be called she, her pronouns she, her, those pronouns. So what JB's stance is, his pronouns are them, they are, because I think he identifies as non-binary. I just don't have a gender. I'm whatever. So that's, I think that's where the non-binary comes in. Um, so that's him, but he does, dress up as a woman, has the lace wigs and, he's, taking hormones and his face has transitioned and, but he still has, that part down there also. So, um, so Angela and her son. Well, let me tell y'all who Angela is. First of all, she is actually a right wing commentator for the Republican Party, and she's a Trump supporter. Black woman who's a Trump supporter. She
You know
lives
what?
down
I
in.
do notice how they mentioned that, how basically, yeah, she was interrogated on the show, partially about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they basically, honestly, you got like, this is a really like touchy topic, because everybody has their views and their beliefs and their viewpoints on this story. And
Mm-hmm.
as a parent, I'm gonna let you know, I understand exactly what Angela is saying as a mom. So I like, hopefully Peaches could pull up something for y'all, because y'all know she be the one with the receipts. I don't be having shit. I just be here. But
Oh, I
she be the
got
ones with the receipts.
something.
So basically, I like, as a parent, so pretty much with her viewpoint, she's saying she's never ever ever gonna look at her son as a she. Like, people was getting mad at her for not addressing her son as she, or as a, her, because she's always gonna see her son as he, no matter how much he tries to twist it and turn it and basically make himself a woman. She also said out her mouth that she's never going to see him as a woman until he can push a baby out, you know,
Yeah.
which if he can never, so, and I understand exactly where she's coming from. Another thing that she brings up, that she wants people to like basically recognize and acknowledge, is the fact that he has a mental condition, right? In her eyes,
Yeah.
right? But let me tell you this. Do you know that some people, I don't know if they still have it as rules and things like that, but with one of my clients at work, right? Well, they're not even my client anymore, but I had a client. It's a well-known company that, yeah, I probably get mail from this company all the time, right? But they have pilots, right? And their pilots were not allowed to be gay or transgender. Trans No, it wasn't that they weren't allowed to be gay. They weren't allowed to be transgender, which means that if they felt like, okay, I'm gay, I like the same sex, fine. But if they woke up one day, because they actually had an employee, and we had to have like when they did my training, we had to have a conversation with the employee. He was a he this whole time, and then one day it was like what's that Jenner name? Is it the one who turned into a female? Like basically, the guy was
Bruce
a guy
Jenner.
all along.
Bruce Jenner.
Bruce, yes, the guy was a guy
Well,
all
it's
along. This
Caitlyn
pilot,
now.
and then
It's
one day
Caitlyn
he comes
now.
into work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that Jenner. So basically, one day he came into work and he was like, I decided that I'm going to transition to be, who I really am. Pretty much, they put him on a paid leave at that, because they couldn't fully discriminate. But however, they know that as a pilot, you could lose your wings because they feel like that is a mental disorder. And honestly, it makes sense. And it's like this is the only way it's probably going to make sense to the rest of the world. And if it doesn't make sense to y'all when I say this, then I don't understand how y'all pick and choose what makes sense when it comes to certain things. Because a lot of people is going to say like that's like comparing apples to oranges, and it's not. So say, for example, I was born a woman. I was
Mm-hmm.
born a woman. So somewhere along the way, I'm like, you know what? I would rather be a boy. I feel like a boy. Yeah, I feel like a boy. You know what? I'm looking down there. Oh, I ain't got a boy thing, but I feel like a boy. So I'm a trans. I'm a transition. I'm gonna do all of these things that's like against my nature. Pop these pills, take these hormones, and I'm gonna change who I am. Okay. Or sometimes they don't even do that. You know that, right? Sometimes they don't even go through all that hormone stuff. Sometimes they're just like, I'm a girl. I got these breasts. I got these, this lady private part. And I'm not going to change anything about myself, but you are going to call me a he because I identify as a male. With my breasts, you're going to call me a he because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
changing. I identify as. If I go fill out this paper, I identify as. So now, say for example, someone like me who's overweight, how the fuck would I look walking around saying, "Oh yeah, I'm skinny"? Yes, I don't ever call me fat or overweight or obese, doctor, because I identify as a skinny person. They will look at me like I'm crazy, right? Right or wrong?
Somebody would.
Somebody would. So what to me, what I don't understand is what makes this different. That's also like, for example, because being that we're talking about Dr. Phil, remember there was a black girl on the Dr. Phil show who identified as a white person?
Yes.
She was all types of crazy, wasn't she, right?
Treasure. Treasure. That was her name, Treasure.
So to me, how is it that the LGBT that I don't understand why they try to force it, and they're trying to get these people to believe that, oh yeah, you really are what you say you are, you know? But then also I'm like when you just think about it, like everything is changing and it's kind of scary. Like to me, it's kind of scary because I'm like, you could sit there and like have a whole ding-a-ling and say, okay, I feel like I'm a woman, so I want to use the ladies' restroom. But I'm not surprised. Welcome to 2021, where sex and gender, for some reason, are no longer the same thing. Because somebody was like, oh, sex is biological. And then they said gender is social.
Yeah, what you identify as.
Yeah, like I'm I respect people who are attracted to the same sex. I respect people who are more comfortable being in other clothes. Like if you're a guy and you feel like, oh, I could put this wig and makeup on and look cute as shit. I respect that. But if I would rather you be like, I look cute when I dress like a girl, but I understand that I was born as a man and I can never change that because that's a fact. No matter how much hormones you take, you would never have the natural DNA and genetic makeup of in the chromosomes of the opposite sex because your chromosomes, you have the XY and the XX, or however it goes. One determines if you're a man, the other one determines if you're a female. Until you can change those chromosomes and your reproductive organs internally, because I know they could do the surgery. You know what? Did you know they could do a surgery to remove the dingaling and then put a vagina? But why can't they remove the vagina and put a dingaling? Riddle me
bitch.
that. Riddle me that.
Because that reminds me of
Riddle me that.
um the pregnant man that was on Oprah. Remember?
To,
Thomas
yep.
Beatty. American man. He was 6 months pregnant and said that it was a miracle. It was his first TV interview. They're from Bend, Oregon, and he used to be a woman. Oh wait, what? He used to be a woman before undergoing gender reassignment surgery. So, what surgery did he get if he was pregnant?
Honestly, I don't think that they with gender reassignment. I don't think that they actually for the woman. I don't think their sexual private parts are changed. I think that
It's
they just stopped the
okay.
production. Yeah, I think they
Yeah,
just stopped the production of like their breasts. They stopped it, like the production of their what do we produce?
but
Estrogen. Yeah.
I'm confused because if you stop all those productions, but you want to have a baby, you're stopping yourself being a woman in certain areas, but you're doing a woman act, which is produce a child. So what's the point of becoming a man if you want to produce a child, but you want to identify as a man? And that's why I feel like for this situation for Thomas Beatty, I think it was more for just shock value. Oh, I'm gonna turn into a man, but I'm still gonna have a baby.
See, the thing is that I never saw the interview to know, did they purposely get pregnant or were they having like a horny
They
moment and had sex
purposely got no, they purposely got
you
pregnant.
know? Because there's a lot of like studs that's out there that basically like they'll have a horny moment and sleep with a guy, and the next thing you know, it's a pregnant stud,
Yes.
right? And they didn't
Yes.
plan it. So
Yes.
that's why I was wondering, because that's one of my biggest fears when I think about transgenders, especially like as a mom. I'm like, what if you have a transgender that's in the bathroom one day, and then he didn't like it, he actually has she who identifies as a she but was naturally born a male, and they have their private parts still. If they're in the bathroom and they happen to see a woman and whatever happens, maybe they start to be attracted to the woman, like, and then next thing you know, they want to like it would be weird to me if you're in the bathroom with somebody that could supposedly be like possibly be getting hard on seeing you in the bathroom. So that's what I don't think is right, because I'm like, certain things
And
are still within their nature. I'm sure how if you ever slept next to a guy, when they wake up in the morning, they dick be standing up, like I'm sure that happens still.
And I don't know if anybody really thinks about that because she has Madison on her live. I think it was it was this week, earlier this week or last week. No, it's a couple of days ago. I don't know. It was recent in the past week. She did say that, she still has her part down there, and she still, I don't want to say verbatim, she still finds women attractive, but she doesn't want to
But
be
that's
with a woman.
scary.
And I do feel like that a lot of trans women, men who transitioned into women, if they still have that part down there, if you find a woman attractive, it's still going to be human nature for you to, yeah, I don't care how much you tuck, for you to feel something down there.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like that in itself is like, I think about stuff like that.
But that I feel like that's something that they have to battle within themselves. They don't need to tell everybody, "Oh, I'm a trans woman. I still have my dick, but I feel like but I think this female is attractive." That's where the questions and shit is going to come in. Well, if that's the case, then you're still a man. You don't belong in this bathroom. So that's where
That's
people
what
are
I'm
gonna.
saying. And a
Yeah.
lot of the times, like I said, it's just in their nature. It's funny because my husband was telling me the other day, it's like, honestly, I can't say shit because we in a long distance relationship. But he was like, how sometimes like a woman could walk by and his stuff would stand up and he can't control it. But I'm like, what can you do about that? Like this, like a ding-a-ling is going to be a ding-a-ling, and sometimes they can't even control it. So I'm like, if you sit in here and you identify as long as you still have that part, that thing got a mind of its own. So it just scares me to just for people to really think that, okay, like, because they was really pushing. I don't know if they still have it, as a thing now, but they were really pushing to say, okay, allow them to use, whatever bathroom they want to use. I'm not
Mm.
okay with that. I'm not okay with that. So all
Or
of
the
that is
family
like,
or the family bathroom where you just go in by yourself.
yeah. See, and it's crazy. I use the family bathroom all the time because I travel with my kids, so we always be in there. But I like those because it's private and it just be you only anyway. So,
Mm.
but those bathrooms aren't everywhere. If you go to Walmart, you gonna go in the man's room or the woman's room. Which one? It's only two, baby. Pick or choose. But honestly, they make it so complicated. I'm like, I don't like what is wrong in saying, okay, we understand that you would probably have preferred to be the other sex, but you need to accept the way you were born. They don't want to accept the way they were born. These people really want to go. I think we talked about this before. Like, this is something that always comes up, especially now in today's society. But these are people who actually want the world to think that they were born as such, and therefore we should address them as such.
Well,
And
that's what Angela Stanton was trying to say. You were born. Yeah, well, that's what Angela, that's what she was trying to say, but she just went in a horrible way of saying it.
I
I
don't think that she went in a horrible way of saying it. I think
on
that
the
she said it
show,
how she. And you know what? If we know what it is, it's because some people change their personalities depending on who they're in front of. But the way how
girl,
she was
please,
talking
no, not
is the
her,
way how, huh?
not her.
That's what I was saying. She didn't. And honestly, I could respect her for that because she feels how she feels and nobody is going to change her mind. And she
She
has
can
very
feel how
valid.
she feels, but it's still disrespectful to misgender somebody, especially to their face, but misgender somebody, period. If somebody says, "Hey, I understand, what science, what I was born as, but I identify as this female." Okay, so that's what that person should be addressed as. Okay, so it is disrespectful, especially, in this day and age, still calling somebody a
But
he.
was this somebody her child, though?
It doesn't matter. Your child is an
To
adult
me it
now.
does matter because because to her is more intimate. Like, say for example, like me as a
It
mom, I
is. It
give
is.
birth to two girls. So if my daughter gets older and she decides, Ma, I want to be a boy, she's always going to be my daughter.
That's where the parents feel like they have to mourn the death of a child. Once they accept the fact, they do say that they mourn the death of that female, or that male, and before they transition, and like, no, you have a daughter now, and that's what I want to identify as. But let me go ahead and play this clip, and
Yes, because I want y'all to
because
hear her. Because I know she a little ratchet, but she was speaking my language because I understand her pain as a parent. Like, my daughter, I don't care what Emmy or the Queen decide. They're gonna be my daughters forever. I will respect their decision, but I'm still gonna call them my daughters.
so here she is, Angela Stanton. She actually did this video while she was still on the lot after the recording of the show.
She ain't waste no time.
No.
Wait, I think when you muted, it muted her.
Okay, so listen, guys. I'm at Paramount Studios.
Peaches, you're gonna
I
have to
just got
unmute.
through filming Dr. Phil. I don't know why you guys didn't warn me about these liberal agenda networks. So basically, the show was supposed to be about me and my son trying to find some type of resolution to figure out how we can fix our relationship. The whole show ended up about me being a black Trump supporter with conservative values, okay? Not only that, they brought on another tranny to try to tell me how to be a parent. First of all, sir, you don't even have children. You probably can't even you probably can't even have children, yet you want to tell me what I need to do in regards to my child. Dr. Phil didn't offer any solution to our problem whatsoever. People telling me, hey, go on Dr. Phil, he gonna help. Dr. Phil didn't offer not one solution. Wanted to quiet me down, gave the stage to his tranny friend, let them speak in regards to the transgender issues, and did not let me have a voice. It wasn't nothing but a setup. I'm telling y'all right now, I showed my ass, okay? So when y'all see it, y'all already know I went completely in. Son, absolutely disrespectful, talking about I'm gonna die alone and all of this shit. Nigga, I'm married. I got a whole husband. I got 4 other children. Nothing about my son's mental illness whatsoever. Everything about me. I'm the bad parent because they can't force me to believe that my son is a woman. So I'm gonna tell you this. Fuck Dr. Phil. Fuck his motherfucking wife. Fuck goddamn Paramount Studios. Fuck all you other crazy, dumbass son of a bitches that think a dick can somehow magically turn into a pussy. It's not motherfucking happening. That's the bottom line. I held it down. It was some ghetto ratchet shit, but I don't give a fuck because I'm standing on mine. At the end of the day, my son is a man, and the rest of y'all need to stand on your shit too. I don't give a fuck what label these people have by their name. Common sense is we know damn well a man cannot be a woman. Okay? If you were supposed to be a woman, you wouldn't have to go and have surgery to get titties put on your breast. You would already be born with them. If you was a woman, you wouldn't be born with a dick. You wouldn't have to go get your dick cut off. Now, I'm going to stick to common sense, okay? Listen, man, the show going to be something else. It's the white car over there in the front. The show going to be something else. Y'all forgive me. I showed my ass.
All right. You have to
My bad.
unmute yourself. Okay.
I had what you call it because I had lost the connection. But yes, but honestly, dude, like, where was the lie in what she said? Where was the lie? Because I ain't seen no lies. Can you hear me?
No, she wasn't lying, but she was still just she was calling the other trans guest a tranny, and that is like a derogatory
Yeah,
term
yeah, I do
towards
feel
them.
like
Just her
honestly,
approach is just all wrong, and she doesn't have the vision to understand. She just has tunnel vision, like you're a man. Like, okay, she was a man. Now he is a she, and she doesn't want to accept that now he is a she. She's still thinking that he is a he, even though biologically downstairs, but to identify for her child to be happy, she wants to be, see, it's so fucking confusing. She wants to be identified as a she.
it's confusing because human beings are complicating the fuck out of it. I was born as a girl, but I want to be a guy. Or I was born as a girl, but I identify as a guy. The problem is that they keep taking out the any type of association of associating the person as being an opposite gender. When the fact is that even though they don't want to be recognized as such, they still are that. You understand? You
Flame
still
Monroe. There's a comedian named Flame Monroe, and he has because he goes by whatever you call him. So he has something called I go by he, she, we. He makes the money. He makes the money. She cashes the checks, and we spend it. And
but
Flame is a male who a transgender male turned into a female, but went back to having male parts, or did he get the breast removed? I think he still has the breast, but he still dresses up, as a woman, for the podcast and the comedy shows or whatever. And the other thing is, he's a full-time dad. He's
wait,
been raising his children ever since they were born, and the baby mamas are studs. One actually recently passed away, so rest in peace to her. But both of his baby mamas that he has the children with are studs, but he's raised them children by himself ever since day one. So he realizes that even though he did things to make himself look and feel or act like a woman, he knows that he's still a man and his children need a father.
Yep.
So that's where a lot of people respect Flame Monroe because, you know, well, he just didn't, abandon his children like, most black men. I don't know who thought that he would, but he took a stance in raising them. You know what I mean? So he didn't
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I'm a woman. I don't have any children." Blah 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 blah, and I didn't have sex with that stud. Or blah blah blah. No, like he was actually in love with these women. So.
But the thing about it is that to me, he's pretty much feminine and then they're masculine.
Yeah, that's what I
And
was
what I don't
confused
understand, I swear, like my way of thinking, this world would be a better place if it was a situation where the transgender males and the transgender females had their own community, because it's like, okay, she was born a man, but she identifies as a woman and she's attracted to men. He identifies as a woman, he was born as a man and he's attracted to woman,
You
right?
mean their own community? That's what the
Yes,
LGBTQ.
when I say their own community, I feel like they should basically like you, because unfortunately, with a lot of transgenders, they try to lure in straight people, you know. So when
Lauren,
I say
how?
meaning that there could be like a transgender woman that was born a male who pretty much wants people to think that she's really a woman. So then a straight man could walk by and see her thinking that she's really a woman. And this guy might be attracted to her because a lot of the times these transgenders be looking as if they were a natural born, whatever they say they are. Right? So, but that's not fair to a straight man because now it's misleading. Because now it's like, you understand what I'm saying? And a lot of people is like, oh, they don't feel like they should have to openly announce that. But I feel like it's common sense. Oh, if a guy see you like, yeah, I know that I really look like I was born a woman, but I just want you to know I'm a transgender. They don't even introduce themselves that way because they feel like it's too much, it's too embarrassing. But if you are who you say you are and you're proud of it, then there should be no issues. And I think a lot of the times that's why people get offended when people say like tranny and stuff like that, or transgender, or whatever. I think it's trainee or whatever, tranny. When
Mm-hmm.
people get offended because it's like somebody being called a faggot. Like if you are confident in who you are, why would it offend you? It's like me. If somebody calls me fat, it won't offend me to where how a person, how when the LGBTQ community is attacked using like faggot or something, they would actually take a high offense to that. You understand? But then with me, as much as I'm fat, if somebody called me fat, it wouldn't bother me. It's like I know that already.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why people get mad when they're like, oh, but like I to them, I guess they say it's a diss, but when she was saying tranny, it's not really a diss to say that. It's
Well,
like a short.
I guess it's the way you use the word fat. Like, oh, you fat bitch. Like, okay, fat. I know I'm
No,
fat.
somebody was describing me because a lot of the times when they be like, oh, Jessica, no, not that Jessica, the tranny Jessica. What did I say wrong?
Because tranny is a word to use to describe a certain group of people
But that's like if
in
somebody's
that
like, oh,
community. For
Juanita, and
that
they're like, which
community,
one?
like, there's no fat community. I guess there is a fat community. I don't
That's
know.
what I'm
But
saying. There is a
for the
fat community.
LGBTQ, that's a word that it may describe them, but it describes them in a negative way.
To me, it's not a negative way because, like I said, if somebody was walking around and they're like, oh, Juanita, like, and if there's multiple Juanitas, like, oh, like, say, for example, if it was two of us, oh, which one, the fat one?
So are you gonna go out on the street and call a transgender a tranny?
It's not about calling them that. Is when it's not okay. So say for example, if you're describing them as such, like as a tranny, but it's not. It's crazy because somebody was talking and they said other trannies they call each other it, but when other people say it, it's offensive. To me, that's like when black people. That's I can't really say like with the N word, but it is similar to that.
That's why I was confused about the whole tranny, like when it first became. And we're not saying tranny to disrespect anybody. And if anybody listens to this podcast, we are not trying to disrespect the LGBTQ community. I'm saying the word tranny because of a situation, Issa Rae, when she had her internet, her web series, Awkward Black Girl, and this was before anybody knew that tranny, because people were still using it. When I watched Noah's Ark on Logo, they were still using the word tranny. So so gloves getting poked by trannies. So I'm like, okay. So when Issa Rae had the word um on her show, I think she was talking about uh oh, I see where people got upset. She was talking about Angelina Jolie. You know how Angelina Jolie has strong features,
Mm-hmm.
so she kind of low key looks like a man. So the character Cece on the show, she said, "Oh, trainee bitch in heels," and I guess that had some type of backlash, and
Hold
she
on,
had to,
wait. Pause. Now she called Angelina Jolie a trainee, a tranny.
yeah, because
The
her,
problem is that in that situation, the reason why it's offensive is Angelina Jolie a transgender.
no,
That's why that's offensive. It's like somebody calling, like, somebody fat. If you're 110 pounds and I call you fat, you could get offended because, like, there's nothing fat about you. You understand? But when you're using it, as I said, to describe somebody, it shouldn't be taken. Like I said, I know faggot because it has a lot of backlash. Like, you wouldn't say faggot. Like, you wouldn't want to call nobody a faggot because that just has its
girl.
history.
It really depends on, I really feel like now it depends on this generation, because the building that I work in,
Do
we
they
have a
call each other that? The train
no,
that
we have a trespasser, and I actually have to go downtown and file a warrant on him because he threatened me. Called me a bitch and he threatened me. But he breaks into the building and he hides in a couple of people's apartments. But he's banned from the building and some other buildings that we
okay.
work at. So the residents, they'll come downstairs on the elevator because he'll run through the halls and run out the building through the stairwells, and they'll be like, that faggot back in the building, that punk back in the building, who let that homeless punk in the building? And and it's like, please, like, I know y'all don't like him or whatever, and I know he acts a fool, but I still cringe at that word
Mm.
because I didn't even like repeating it right now. So,
Honestly, I'm like I said, the faggots was particularly. I know, like, a lot of the times, if somebody is saying it, they're not saying it. But I have heard within the LGBTQ community, like, they'll joke with each other and call each other that. But they can only do it. Like, it's weird.
mhm.
Even with tranny, they call each other that. But if anybody else calls them that, it's a problem. Like, that never that just confuses everything. And then trying to understand them is always going to be confusing, because I'm like, if you were born one way, there's nothing, like, even me growing up, like, I was never girly girl, like, I was never like a girly. Like, I used to like to wear sneakers and jeans, and I didn't like wearing dresses, I didn't like dressing up, and like, I was comfortable dressing like a quote unquote boy, but I was never gay. I was never into the same sex. It was just about me being comfortable. But at no point in time, like, even though it was crazy because I never really wanted to be a boy. I just wanted to do what boys did, because my brothers, they used to get so much privilege, and my mom used to let them do way more. Even though they was like, a year and 2 years older than me, I always felt like boys were allowed to do stuff that girls were not allowed to do, you know? So I, for
Mhm.
that reason, wanted to be that, but I never was like, I never thought, my thoughts never went beyond, okay, let me just act a little boyish or dress a little boyish. It never went beyond that. It never went to, oh, let me start thinking about, changing my body so that I can be like that. Like, and it never went that far. But I did like the fact that, we're based off of the roles in society, that men got away with murder. Women's supposed to
Mhm.
stay at home, cook and clean. My brothers used to be able to run the streets all times of the night. We had to be inside because we were girls, you know? but it never for me. It never went beyond that when thinking about like gender and sexuality for me. So I can never understand like what makes somebody disown who they were born as, you know. But that's not my story, so it's not for me to understand. But I personally, oh yeah, and when she was calling them after she was heated. So she was mad about whatever happened on the stage. So even in that moment, because she was speaking to me kind of out of anger, she definitely
Mm-hmm.
probably said stuff that she probably would not have said if she was a little bit more calm when she was speaking. Like with
Because
me,
here's the thing, her son mentioned that she has a lot of trans friends, trans LGBT in the community. So he couldn't understand was oh damn shit. She couldn't understand why she had the approach toward her son. But I guess it's different when it's your child.
that you know what you absolutely right, it is different when it's your child, because for me, like I said, with other people from the outside looking in, it's easier to be like, that's your son, you can't give up on them. But then when it's your own kid, it's like you have this disappointment, because it's like what you gave birth to, you know what you
Exactly.
gave birth to. So it's like, how can you accept anything else? So I understand it's not for like, and I think that anybody that's not trying to understand her from a point, like a parent's point of view, that's not right. Like I feel like people is trying to force her to understand when certain things you would never understand. It's certain things she would like you would never accept, you know?
Mm,
And that's
yeah.
just one of them.
Sadly, yes.
That's just one of them. And I think that it will pretty much like I said, even with I'm telling you straight up from now, if my kids ever decide like they could be, lesbians all they want, they could be gay all they want. But as far as trying to say you are not what you are born, I would never back them on that. And I'm sorry. I'm gonna say, like, yeah, I get it. You want to be a boy. I get it. But you were not born that, sweetheart. And I get what she's saying, because if you sit there and you even motivate them and encourage them, you're lying to them. It's like, yeah, you can identify as, but baby, you was born as, which that's gonna always override what you're trying to do within this life, because you were made who you were meant to be. And if you want to change that, go ahead. Because it's people that, even though, listen, there's people that don't accept their bodies, and they're not changing from one sex to the other. They're going and putting in bigger breasts. They're going and making bigger butts. They're making their stomach smaller. So those people are trying to make their bodies what they would want it to be, what will make them happy. So when you think about it, it's nothing really wrong in wanting to look a certain way, because how you want to look is how you want to look. Period. There's nothing wrong with that. People put on makeup all the time because they want to look a certain way, you know?
Yeah.
And these people is like, like, hey, I feel like I'm a girl. I want to look like a girl. I'm going to take these hormones. I'm going to do this. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that, because that's what you want to do. That's what's going to make you happy when you look in the mirror. But who are you inside? Who are you per those chromosomes? That's all that matters at the end of the day. But hey, like everybody's gonna have their own viewpoint. But like I said, I totally agree, and I understand where she was coming from on that one. I understand, like, you're not gonna try to make me think that my son is something else, because that's not what I gave birth to. But Angela, I
Well,
understand from a parent's point of view. I totally understand. But I do feel like she could have spoken more respectfully. But when you in the heat of the moment, it's hard. Like with me, when I'm mad and I'm pissed and I'm angry, you cannot hold me accountable for anything that I said when I was upset. Like I know I might say some crazy things, but I won't say nothing too crazy. Like I hope you die. You know, I won't say nothing like that. But if I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, this little tranny this and tranny that, it's because I'm pissed the fuck off. I think who had just hilarious. She had a situation. What she did? She called somebody a faggot, basically.
oh God.
She did, but she made a video about it. But she was like, it's crazy because the person called her. I think they said she looked like a man, and she's like, shut your faggot ass up. And they're like, "Ooh, Jess Hilarious said this," but nobody is saying nothing about the fact that the person just said she looks like a man. They both
Okay, I see.
insulted each other in the same way, but because she used a what, like a slur, a gender slur, because you know you have racial slur, because she used, I don't even know what to call it, but that's what it's probably called, right? Because you know how you say a racial slur, like the N word, right?
Yeah.
So because she used a gender slur, whatever you would want to call it, it's a situation where they looked at her as if she did something wrong when the person actually disrespected her first. I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand why they do that. That's like if you call me a bitch and then I call you a bitch back. Why am I wrong? Because I said it back.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to let you sit there and bully me. That's the right way. I don't understand. Like, you can't win in this life. You roll. You damned if you do. You damned if you don't. It's hard. But anyways, yeah,
Damn.
leave y'all comments about your viewpoint on it all. Like, do you feel like it's hard to accept gender versus sex? And again, gender is what they said. Gender, no, they said sex is what you are biologically, and gender is pretty much what you identify as in this, when it comes to socializing. So drop your viewpoints on that. I think we talked about that for long enough.
We really did.
Because it's
45 minutes
touchy. It's
in.
touchy.
It
It's
really
really
is.
touchy.
Let's get on to this Joe Budden shit. Let me go ahead and play the video so I can get that out the way.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, go get y'all a sip of wine or something. But
Choices and
Joe
options.
Budden,
He feels like he's entitled to more. Rory, you are in breach of your contract, and from this point forward, you are fired, and you're not welcome back. Does anybody in here have a problem that I'm the person that has to say that?
No.
Maul, I'm the person that has to say that. The gall of you to think that you are observing the way that I am, to think that I have to come to you about a problem I have with another man. We have things sorely mistaken around here. That's not ego and arrogance. It's realism. He still feels like he has.
Well,
okay, first of all, there was two things. One thing is that this is my first time seeing that. Honestly, I heard that there was nobody in the room, but I'm sorry. Did this man
huh?
nobody in the room and he was looking and pointing at somebody was in the room and the chair's warm? What? You saw that, right?
I saw that because by that time they had already made the decision that they weren't going to come back. But I guess, he felt the need to fire them on air still.
But
Okay,
even if he
so
felt the need to, go ahead. I'm
the
sorry.
no, you're fine. The backstory is that the Joe Biden, the Joe Biden, the Joe Button
That's my fault.
podcast. The Joe
Because
Button
before we went live, I was
podcast.
like, "Yeah, Joe Biden." I done said it like 5 times. I didn't got you messing up now.
The Joe Budden podcast has been growing, obviously. Some big corporations have been, trying to get him to, I guess, like sell them his show and be like, such and such a presents the Joe Budden podcast to where they would make more money. And I think on some level they have been making more money from the podcast. So the two other co-hosts, I think they might have asked, yo, what's going on with the bread? Because if the show's making more money, we should get more money.
Right.
And
Honestly,
that's where the fallout
go
came
ahead.
from. No, that's where the fallout came from. Now, ironically, well, I guess it's not ironic.
Was it
Rory and
academics involved too?
no, that was his other podcast that he was on before he started this one. Because Joe Budden was a
Oh,
part of another podcast. But now Rory and Mal, they broke away. They have their own podcast now. So I guess it worked out for everybody.
So when did this happen with the
Girl,
Joe
this
Budden?
past week, this
So when did they
everything
start
happened
their podcast though?
this week.
But I heard that they had a contract where they weren't supposed to start a new podcast.
How are you gonna tell somebody to start not to go into business for themselves?
I hear what you're saying, but the thing about it was that with the information and the videos that you sent me, one of them was saying that they wouldn't have been able to start another podcast because they pretty much had a contract where they would have had to at least have waited a year.
Girl, why did that 55-second video almost get us blocked? Now I have to send a dispute.
What? The one with Joe Budden?
Yes, just now it got caught for copyright. And we send a dispute. We're still
Okay.
live. We're still live.
Okay. But basically, here was the thing. Even if he wanted to fire him so that this way the world could see that, oh yeah, they're fired, he should have said, you guys, I just want to let you know it's just me only here tonight on this podcast. Unfortunately, Rory and Mal couldn't be with us because they're no longer, going to be a part of the Joe Budden podcast. Why are you talking as if they're sitting in front of your face and as if you're firing them in real? Like, that was weird to
Because
me.
Joe Budden is a petty ass nigga. You want to know something? Joe Budden is a fucking Virgo.
And you could have left that part out, baby.
He's a goddamn petty ass Virgo.
Because he ain't making us look good right now. I'm like, I
Hell
know we could
no.
be petty, but at the end, me personally, I would never take that type of approach. But I thought it had something to do with academics because they were saying somewhere along the way that I think that somebody got mad because he was with academics and then the person doesn't get along with academic. That wasn't something that you sent me. And then pretty much he was saying, you know what I'm talking about? It was one of those videos.
I have an article. It says it began after Joe essentially told Rory to take some time off the podcast after tension grew on set, which Button claimed to be unaware of. Rory and Mal's return to the show was short-lived since Joe announced that the former had officially been fired on the episode. Things have certainly not been working in Joe's favor ever since. It seems that Rory and Mal have taken their chemistry to form their own podcast over the weekend. Fans received a taste of Rory and Mal podcast. Can look after they released an hour-long plus response to Joe Budden. In the response, they discussed their issues stemming from accounting and credit for building the podcast from the ground. No one really knows exactly what the two would have in store for the future, but it seems they will be forming their own platform. Mal took to Instagram where he unveiled what appears to be artwork for their own podcast, presumably titled New Rory and Mal. He didn't elaborate any further, just using an orange and a money bag emoji in the caption. We'll keep you posted on any more updates following the podcast. You will be tuning in. Oh, I'm sorry. Sound off in the comments. That's the article. But anyway, yeah, they have their own podcast now.
Well, that's interesting. Well, I don't know why I was hearing something about academics. Like, to me, it was like one of those situations where it's like somebody didn't like somebody. I think they were saying they didn't like academic, and then it was tension because it's like, I think they said Joe Budden did an interview or something with academic, and academic was supposed to be talking about somebody. It was something along those lines in one of those videos that you sent me.
I don't know how he did an interview with academics. I thought they didn't like each other.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it was what you call it. I don't know if it was one of his podcast people, like Ma or Rory. But okay, let me see what I'm going on thing to see. Joe Biden and academic. Let me see if Google could help me figure this out. But it was a storyline. But either way, like somebody, what they were saying to me, it kind of makes sense because they were like, okay, if it was a situation where I did an interview with X, Y, and Z, and you know, you don't like this person, you can't have an attitude with me, but socializing with somebody that you don't like. That storyline
Okay.
don't sound familiar to you?
No.
Okay. So basically, it was in one of those. Academic was brought up in one of those videos, and I don't really understand why.
He was probably trolling because that's what the fuck he does. He's like the 6ix9ine of podcast. The Takashi 6ix9ine of podcasts.
Yeah. But anyways, I just feel like Joe Budden just like I kept hearing that they said that it was just him in the room, but I didn't actually see. But why is he? I mean, why was he recording?
Because he was recording the podcast by himself. His
But
co-hosts
it's,
were,
but
huh?
I mean, if he was the way he was presenting it, I would have thought that he would have probably, you know, that nobody probably could see what was happening.
I think Joe Budden is one part delusional also because his poor baby mama Sin Santana, she was like, you didn't have these bitches' numbers and messages in your phone, and he's sitting there looking at her like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, nigga, I think we brought them up before. Shit, I think we did bring them up before.
Yeah, I think we touched based on it a little bit.
He won't even hold himself accountable for cheating. I don't know why. Well, here's the thing. I stopped watching that podcast a long time ago because I didn't like how he talked to Rory and Mal anyway. He just has a tendency to talk down to people. And that's why his bitch left him. His two co-hosts left him. So so shit. That's something that he has to identify that he does to people along with all the other shit that just his horrible traits. I don't want to say that Joe Budden is a bad person, but damn, he just ugh. Anyway, what's the next subject?
That, but I'm still trying to find.
Oh, my bad.
Anyways,
Sorry. Go ahead.
no, it's cool. I still can't find that storyline, but like to me, it was just so petty because my point was that what I was gonna say is that as adults, people need to stop being so petty. Like, say for example, Peaches, if you got somebody that you don't like, right? Like, say for example, you don't like Sarah, but I know Sarah. Me and Sarah's cool. Like, you can't expect me to stop talking to Sarah because you don't like Sarah, and vice versa. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you should trust me. Like, you know, when you have a friend, you should trust me enough to know that I'm never gonna be sitting there entertaining no negative conversations, you know, if Sarah ever wants to talk shit about you, because I'm not gonna do that. Like, when you can't play, I think that's where people get so fucked up, because there's a lot of people that, you know, they would not like somebody and then they so comfortable talking to you. That's like if Sarah, you know, you don't like Sarah and Sarah's comfortable talking to me about you. For one, me, if I'm your friend, I'm not supposed to entertain that shit, period. You understand? And even if she does talk about you, I'm supposed to be able to defend you, you know, and shut it down right then and there. Not sit there and laugh and smile and entertain them. But at the end of the day, if me and Sarah have a friendship, there's no reason why you should be affected by it. But that's why I
Mm-hmm.
thought that, because when he said he was in breach of contract, what happened? That's why I was thinking that maybe one of them
I
had
think
went out and
I
did
think
a.
Joe was I think Joe was just saying that because that's the way his crazy ass mind works. Because I think people have to remember that Joe Budden used to be a fucking pillhead, so I think that did kind of alter his thinking.
But when he said out, that's why I was like, when he said breach of contract, because, you know, sometimes they'll be like, oh, there's a conflict of interest. That would have made sense to me if it was a situation where there was a third party. But I don't get, I just couldn't figure it out. I just couldn't figure it out. All right, so the one of the last topics, because we have 50, we had an hour, so we're gonna wrap it up. So pretty much it's
Mm-hmm.
also based around Joe Budden. So there is a female by the name of, where is she? Where
Olivia
is
Dope.
Olivia Dope, but I want to find the article because I want to read this article.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
let me. Olivia Dope, a former See the Thing Is podcast host, accuses Joe Budden of sexual harassment. So pretty much, guys, there's a video available on her Instagram that you can go check out where she talks about it. But for the sake of our podcast, I'm going to read the article. Joe Budden is being called out again for toxic behavior. This time, DJ Olivia Dope, who recently quit Budden's podcast network, has now revealed that his toxic behavior, especially towards women, is also present at work. In a video she shared on Instagram, Dope explained that Budden's behavior towards her was the reason she left the podcast. I am doing this video today to finally explain my departure from the See the Thing Is podcast, as well as the Joe Budden network. I sat with this for 3 months, anxiously debating with myself if I feel comfortable enough to express my reasoning for my departure. I am here today, still uncomfortable, but I find the bravery to speak out on a very embarrassing situation, she continued. On January 18, 2021, Joe Budden sat in on a recording of the female-led podcast I was a part of and continuously made sexual, suggestive remarks to me that made me extremely uncomfortable, as well as fearful of dampening the mood if I didn't laugh along while he made those sexual remarks to me. Those moments not only live on the internet forever, it also forced me into the decision of quitting the podcast. Okay, so it's more to the article, but I'll stop right there.
I'm gonna just
Um,
say that I hate when men, especially black men, y'all think y'all being funny, but y'all really just creating an uncomfortable moment for a woman when you say certain shit. Go
you
ahead.
know what? Honestly, whew, when I was reading, like, I have mixed emotions about that because it's like this. I feel like in the work environment, you're supposed to be professional, but what I hate is that women have the power and the ability to say no. You have the power and the ability to say no. And what I mean by that, so say for example, with this situation, she I don't think I read it yet, but she also goes on to say, no, there was actually a video where he goes, while they were recording, he's like, oh, can I give you a hug live on the, while we're live and recording? She goes, yes, you can, come on. And she stood up and he got up and went over to her and gave her a hug. And not only did he give her a hug, he was being a little, like, you could tell he was like winding his waist or whatever. But my thing is that if you already was uncomfortable, why didn't you say no? You're saying because you were under pressure that you kind of just basically went with the flow. But at the end of the day, you had the right to say, hey, I am not comfortable with this, so can you please stop? But if you never said that to him, how would he know? Guys are so dumb to where they really think that women like that shit for whatever reason. And the reason why they think that is because there honestly and sadly are so many women that like that shit. You know, what you call it, wife, the basketball player wife, she was feeling the type of way because guys wasn't giving her that type of attention. But if she
Aisha
had,
Curry.
yes, because a lot of women want to know that guys think that they are attractive. However, me personally, it annoys me. But if it's a situation where, like, if somebody is doing it, I'm realizing that they're doing it because that's probably the type of person that they are. Not to say that it makes it right, but it really doesn't make it wrong either, because people like that shit. You understand? So,
Yeah.
but if you're uncomfortable with it, it's your job to say, hey, like, pull them to the side, like, listen, I know you like to flirt and all of that, but that makes me uncomfortable. If you can't have that conversation, then there's something wrong with you. Because now you done sat here and laughed and smiled in his face, and he probably thought everything was all good, because she never told him stop doing that. That's a problem. As far as what I read, she just said that he did things that, yes, Some people may have considered it as inappropriate, but others would have been like, yo, that nigga, he liked me. He was flirting with me. You know, some people live for that shit. So I feel like she dropped the ball because she never gave him that clarity to let him know, I'm not comfortable. Can you not do that? I got guy friends that sometimes, you know, they'll like, well, you know, they'll try to flirt here and there. And I'll be like, yo, stop that shit. Like, you know, like, oh, stop babying me or stop this, you know, whatever I tell them, because I let them know it's not comfortable for me. Now, if they decide to keep doing it, then that means they need to be blocked, period. But in that situation, because it was business, if she would have at least gave him the chance to correct his behavior, then she could have been like, I asked him to stop and he didn't stop. He kept going. I didn't see that anywhere. I mean, I have to go and watch the whole video because I didn't. I only read an article. A lot of the times the article gives you the gist. But did you hear anywhere where she said that she said stop? Because based off of what I'm reading, she just played along because she just felt weird and she didn't want to
Well,
cause a scene.
yeah, and that's where females get nervous and they don't know how to respond to situations like that. And, we don't want to, victim blame or anything else, but, if you've never been in that situation before, you probably don't know how to respond. And then you're on air at work. So that's what just makes everything just uncomfortable. And, oh, men just have to be careful. A lot of men feel like they can do everything with all females and they can't. So,
But that's the
ugh.
thing. Like I said, it's so weird because it's like I said, like I know girls that live for shit like that. And if a nigga don't do that, they would have been mad. Like that nigga didn't even fucking think. Like he didn't even try to like. It's weird to me because I'm like that. When I'm realizing like women really live for that shit. So guys, they're dumb and they think with they dick a lot of the time. So they not really. They not like they won't know unless you told them. And now that's to me, that's where a person is fucking up. If I tell you that this makes me uncomfortable and you decide to keep doing it, now that's when you're a fucking asshole, you know?
Yeah.
So that was how I pretty much felt about that. I felt like she could have communicated her feelings. Like you can't sit there. It's like, it's like the best way to describe it. You go to a restaurant, you asking them for a burger, you don't like pickles, and you never tell them that you don't like pickles, but you always get mad like y'all fucking put pickles on my burger. Like you didn't say no pickles, bitch.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, you can't get mad when you never like, because this is what it like. Because like I said, with Joe Budden, I'm sure that's the type of person that he is, based off of what they're saying. Like he flirts with a lot of people. That's guys for you. Like I could walk down the street of New York. You've been in New York, but if you walk down the streets of New York, especially like in Brooklyn, you're gonna have about 50 guys that tries to talk to you and it's crazy because it's
Girl,
in
I
some
was
people's
walking down the street in fucking Harlem and a nigga tied my shoe. So, yeah.
but
Well, seriously,
it's
I got it on
crazy.
video. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like the thing is, that especially like I can't say like I promise you, I be feeling ugly in Charlotte. But when I go to New York, I be feeling like I'm that bitch. Like if I get 50 guys that's like, yo ma, like walking down the street, 50 guys. That don't happen in Charlotte. Jamaica's like that too. Like you be walking fluffy. Wow, go on fluffy.
Mm, 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 mm.
Like you're like I'm telling you, they got niggas for days in Jamaica and in New York. But like at the end of the day, there was this lady. They actually did this experiment where a lady, she put on a book bag with a video camera and she walked the streets of New York just to hear how many guys, that tried to talk to her just walking down the street. And they basically said that's sexual harassment. And I'm like, to me, guys are gonna be guys. And like I said, to me, it's only sexual harassment when you've asked them politely to stop and you express to them that you're uncomfortable and then they keep doing it. Because now you're sitting here trying to make it seem like that you trying to make this man seem like he's a pervert when he's just a man that likes to flirt. That's how I saw it.
Well,
I don't
What's
know.
the next subject? Oh,
Oh yeah, we will. So that was just that. Let me know how y'all feel about that Joe Budden situation. Because like I said, for me, I'm not gonna sit there and make a guy seem like he's the worst person because he was fucking doing nigga shit. I'm sorry, but that's how it is in my eyes. But anyways, the last topic for the night, we're gonna be talking about this gas situation. So apparently, what
oh
about a week
shit, we
ago?
forgot about Naomi.
Oh, Naomi Campbell. You want to cover that? Because I thought she actually pushed out a baby, but she's a
Hell
mom
no.
now. She's a mom now at 50, they said, right? 50.
Hmm.
Yeah. You have anything for that? Like, did they? I know they didn't even show the baby, but they did show like the foot and I think.
It's right here.
Yeah. Oh.
Now, here's the thing. Well, we knew Naomi Campbell wasn't going to give birth to anything and destroy that figure of hers. She's literally had that figure ever since birth. So
But why she say a beautiful little blessing has chosen me? How has this kid chosen you?
I don't know why she said that. I
You
think she's trying to say that, the divine timing and, God's timing and the power and, fate, fates chose us and you to be with me and me to be with you. And hell, the whole adoption process, I don't know. Well, I don't know if she actually adopted or bought. So I don't know. But a beautiful little blessing has chosen me to be her mother. Oh, she has a little girl. Of course, she has a little girl. Oh, so honored to have this little gentle soul in my life. There are no words to describe the lifelong bond that I now share with you, my angel. There is no greater love. Girl,
So
a lot of
what?
people are
You
trying to
sure she didn't
say,
push the baby out?
hell no, she didn't push that baby out.
They said
Naomi
that.
fucking Campbell, Naomi fucking Campbell. You really think Naomi fucking Campbell's gonna get pregnant and get fat?
You know it's crazy because just recently there was actually this interview where they had showed the snippet and then Naomi they compared somebody to Naomi Campbell and she was like, "Don't you fucking compare me to them? I'm better than them." Like
Oh damn.
she was like, "Don't you ever compare me? That's an insult." I was like, "Whoa, cocky much?" She was like kind of cocky. Like I was like, I did not know she was like that. I know that's like she's like
Girl.
that's the catwalker, right? Who has
Well,
the
here's
that
the thing. Naomi Campbell is known for, beating up her maids, beating up assistants, hitting people with cell phones. And Tyra Banks, she has stated, even on her show, when she had Naomi Campbell on her show, when she did have her show, she told Naomi Campbell, like, she was, really mean to her. But during the late 80s, the early 90s, when Tara was new to the scene and Naomi Campbell was already here in the fashion world, they were pit against each other because they're both brown skinned females who have similar body types. And when you walk a catwalk of a fashion show, whoever comes out last owns the show. So a lot of people were putting them against each other, in that concept because, just the two most popular black supermodels of the 90s. You know what I mean? So Naomi Campbell, she's a force to be reckoned with. Oh my God, when I tell you that bitch ain't out here to fuck with anybody. You told me, oh, just Naomi that bitch though. Naomi that bitch.
hmm
I don't know anybody. Nobody knows money the way Naomi Campbell knows money.
Yep. But congratulations to her. But like I said,
Yeah.
I don't ever want to say that she had a surrogate unless they say, she had a surrogate because she could have did her 9 months silently. Let me tell you this. I know you may not think that she don't want to mess up her body, but I work in benefits administration and there'll be people that be 40s and 50s and they be calling in reporting the birth of their first child, you know? And they have
Oh,
to tell us they have to tell us if this baby is adopted or it's a biological child, and a lot of the times it be their biological child. So I'm like, until, because we don't have no receipts that say for sure she had a surrogate or she adopted, right?
Or
Have
she
we
might
seen
have,
her?
yeah, a
Have we seen
surrogate.
her
Because
in the
I'm
last
like,
9 months?
at 50 years old, yeah, she has a YouTube channel.
Oh,
So at 50 years old, does she still have eggs left to, shit, the way science is, I'm surprised they didn't take like a ball of her blood and, do some shit with that and, make her a little clone baby. Ew. But anyway, just all the ways Naomi Campbell can have a baby without destroying her body.
I'm still trying to read to see, like, is nobody talking about how this baby was born? Like, did she pop this baby out or not?
Well, she's not gonna tell unless she's ready.
Yeah.
She's just, that's the whole, media speculation. Where'd she get the baby from? Who had the baby for her? I'm pretty sure it's going to be like an exclusive interview with Oprah Winfrey. Meet Naomi Campbell's baby. Find out the baby's name and find out how she came about to be the baby's mother. And so Naomi is Press, and Press is Naomi. So she's going to work this story to where she's going to have all the attention on her and that child. So let's just look out for an interview with Naomi Campbell talking about, the process of her becoming a mom in quotation marks.
I think that was probably her egg. It was probably like how Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade, they had their baby, but Gabrielle Union didn't carry the baby, but it was really their baby, like her egg, his sperm. Because when I'm reading this article, it says she did not disclose the method in which she welcomed her daughter, but 4 years ago, credited science with giving her an opportunity to start a family whenever she wants, suggesting she was leaning towards using a surrogate. But I honestly think, a lot of people freeze their eggs too, you know? So she could
Oh
have
yeah, yeah,
taken,
yeah. She could have done that. She could have done that. I
she could
forgot.
have
I
frozen
forgot
her eggs and then got the
years
egg.
ago. Cause shit,
Yeah.
Celine Dion did the same thing.
Yep. And honestly, like, it's like, if that in that situation is nothing wrong, because some people's bodies physically can't carry a baby.
Well, hell, the only difference between her and Celine Dion is Celine Dion wanted to have her babies, like physically.
Yeah.
And Celine Dion did she, did her pregnancy in between her tours, her residency, excuse me, at Caesar's Palace, between her world tour and her residency at Caesar's Palace. So actually, there's a documentary if you ever want to check it out on Celine Dion. A New Day Has Come, and it chronicles. This is before her husband passed away, Lord Jesus. Her giving birth and having the newborns, and these are twins. She had twins, girl. And
Mm.
she, mind you, she's well over the age of 40 by the time this happened. So, yeah. So it's possible if you're a working woman and you still want to have a family, go ahead and freeze your eggs. Hire a surrogate if you have the money to do so, or it's possible. So,
Yeah.
congratulations to Naomi and her white boyfriend. Hopefully that baby will get a little tan because I hope she didn't adopt a white baby. Like that'll just be so obsolete. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be weird, but we gonna see. All right. Well, congratulations to Naomi Campbell. However you welcome your baby, like, that's
Yeah.
motherhood is a good thing to experience. Like, it's a whole different ball game when you carry the baby. I guess it's a whole different experience. I think every person should be able to experience that. But even if you don't, like, just being able to love a child and raise a child properly is a blessing.
Yes.
That's a blessing. And then the last thing we're going to talk about real quick is this quote unquote gas shortage. For the record, there was never a gas shortage. The scare of a gas shortage caused a gas shortage temporarily. But from what I understand was that there was never any actual gas that was missing. There was a system that was hacked. A system
Mm-hmm.
that was hacked. They didn't steal the gas. So I don't understand why people made it seem as if the gas was gone when really it was just a system that was hacked. An electrical system that was hacked. I don't know how did that stop the gas flow. I don't know how it impacted us so much. And it was crazy because I had filled up the Saturday, didn't do nothing Sunday because that was Mother's Day. But Sunday night, I saw an article that said, there's a gas shortage. The system was hacked, and then there might be a gas shortage. Then I called my mom because I know she goes out a lot. I was like, "Ma, how the gas station lines looking? It's crazy." She was like, "No, what are you talking about?" I said, "Well, they said it's a gas shortage." Then by the end of that day, we was looking for gas. The gas lines going through the roof, going around the corner, around the block, down the block. It was gas
Well,
lines for
I
days.
understand that it was a hack, but it was Russian hackers. And I think they would have done a lot more damage unless the government did pay that money. So they did pay that money to avoid, further damage to the system. Because here's what could have happened. They could have turned off the gas supply for the whole East Coast.
They could have done that. But even so, as much as they would have turned the gas supply off, the gas was never missing. So they put people in this panic of thinking that there wasn't going to be any gas that was accessible to them. Like the same, like they, even if they wasn't getting the gas from the actual system, I'm sure they could have manually did it. There could have been workarounds for them to be able to get gas. You understand?
That's why I didn't, like going back to the early days of the pandemic when, the whole toilet paper so-called shortage was happening. Why was there a shortage on toilet paper? It's a fucking pandemic. Either you're going to have a runny nose or a runny ass. Why are you going to stock up on tissue if you don't really need it?
Honestly, because they was gonna have a runny nose and a runny ass. No, because you know it was so crazy because a lot of people wasn't realizing that one of the symptoms of COVID was diarrhea. You know that, right?
Oh, I forgot about that. Well,
And it was
shit,
crazy
how
because,
much shit is coming out of you then?
but here's the thing though, it was crazy because at first people didn't realize that that was a symptom. But a lot of people was like, "Yo, I did have diarrhea and cold in a cold, like in a cold. They had diarrhea and and cold and flu like symptoms. But you're not thinking about diarrhea as being a COVID symptom because back then they kept saying a cough, a cough, a cough. Remember?
Yeah.
So people was having diarrhea and they're not worried or panicking because they're thinking they just got diarrhea. So if people were really infected with COVID at those high rates, then that mean that a lot of people had diarrhea. And with diarrhea, you was going to need more toilet tissue. But it didn't make sense until they realized that diarrhea was a symptom. But even after, people still don't understand. But it makes sense now, though, right? Because people had diarrhea. I know a lot of people that said, like, once they realized that diarrhea was a symptom, they was thinking back and realizing that they had cold symptoms and diarrhea at the same time. So when that hit, they was like, "Oh shit, I probably had COVID," you know?
Yeah, a lot of people
So
had COVID and they just didn't realize it.
yes, so really the diarrhea was a symptom that people didn't even realize that, okay, that's why that, like even to this day, people didn't put that together, but now it makes sense to me. They had the runny nose and the runny asses.
Oh God.
It was funny because you actually said it. You said it. You said it. Oh God. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna just pull an affirmation real quick and y'all some cards.
What does the
So
card say? Cards never lie.
I have, it says oneness is my true nature. Oneness. Whether you're male, female, transgender, oneness. We're all spiritual human beings, right? Oh, it says there is nothing sexier than my authentic truth. Oh, and then it says, I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided. And then, our affirmation is number 10, my favorite number. It says, I am passionate. I put my entire heart into the people and the things I believe in. My passion is a powerful force. It is an eternal fuel I recognize the strength of my passion, and therefore I am careful where I choose to focus it. I am passionate. Those were good messages. And that was a good affirmation. All right, guys. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a
Yeah.
friend. Help
Yeah.
us get monetized. Like, I heard people be doing podcasts for years. We're 1 year in. We need to get monetized. We need more subscribers. We
I
need more
was thinking
likes.
about that earlier. I was like, we're gonna look back on this and we're gonna look back on ourselves whining because we don't have any subscribers, and then one day it's just gonna blow up.
Slowly but surely. And like I said, they say Rome wasn't built in a day, and that's true. Like, it takes time because you got people that's even like Lovely T. I think she's been doing podcasts since 2002 or something like that.
She's been doing her YouTube channel, her podcast, like the actual Apple podcast. She just started that in the past year or two.
Okay, but the YouTube is because I was looking. Her name was like Lovely T 2002. But
Yeah,
YouTube is where she's been on there for years. But look how
she
long
makes her
it's
bread and butter.
she makes it now, but it didn't come overnight. So,
Yeah.
that's why I'm being patient, because at the end of the day, like, we're getting experience, and over time, like, like, we'll have this shit down pat.
And we
But
will be having some new graphics in the next couple of weeks. I'm still trying to tweak it. I'm trying to see if I need like some new photos just to revamp it. But I
mhm.
did find some music to go that isn't copyrighted to
Okay.
go to along with our new intro video because
So that
one,
you can
huh?
add music to that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You be knowing all the technical shit.
Anybody can do it. Just go on introcave.com and just edit it yourself, and you can download the video. You have to pay for it. It's only like $10 or so, but you can download the video and then edit it further if you want to. So, it's possible for people to learn and do that type of shit. So yeah, you don't have to pay $200 or $300 for these online graphic.
It's
These people
possible,
who
but are you passionate? If you ain't passionate about doing shit like that, you're not gonna do it.
exactly. So that's why I prefer to do it myself.
Yeah. I do a lot of stuff myself too, but I promise you, it's like it's a lot. Like, even like with my logos, like, I'll come up with the ideas, but it's a lot. You have to really, 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 really be passionate about it. Once you're passionate about it, you're like, yeah, you going all in, you know. But yeah. But you be doing your thing with the technology, like, I be lost. I'm like, what? How you do that?
Exactly, exactly.
Yes. But yeah, guys, we are going to be, like, we're going to continue to work on, branding ourselves. So help us get where we're trying to go. We definitely appreciate you guys.
All right. That was the Peaches and Dream podcast. I'm sorry. Shit. Damn, I lost my train of thought. Come see us on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, and check us out next week as we go live.
Yes, we're with you guys normally at least one day a week. If it's, normally every week you see us. So definitely continue to support us. I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And we need this outro.
All right. Stay black, be blessed, and fuck the police. All right.
Bye,
We will
guys.
see y'all next week. Love y'all.